Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like I've gotten the one brand tutorial bug again, especially with different drugstore brands, maybe some that I've featured quite a while ago. I have it in my head like, oh, I've already featured this or that brand, but so much has changed, you know, in maybe 10 years time in some of these brands. So today I'm going to do NYX, and I feel like they have a lot of kind of unique takes on products. You know, some things might seem a little gimmicky, some things maybe rightfully are a little bit on the different side, and they've brought some unique ideas into the mix that are actually working. So I've got a full face of stuff. A few of these items are new to me, but most of these things I've had some experience with. Oh, and by the way, we've got a new fall garland up back here. I've got a little issue with the bottom part of this one. I want it to stick more to my window side instead of kind of poking out there at the bottom. And as always, the kittens hear me up here moving around and working, and they want to say hi. So first off, I have this Plump Right Back primer. It says it has electrolytes in it, claims to be a plumping serum plus primer, so we're going to use some of that. And in my experience with this stuff, it just kind of feels like a little added layer of moisture. You know, I don't notice a ton of priming benefits, but I'll be paying close attention to that today. But the main claim is that it's just going to kind of plump up your skin, get things nice and smooth under the makeup. So is it plump, or is that just the bloating from it being that time of the month? The world may never know. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say, you guys have probably noticed a scam is going around, not just on my channel, but on YouTube. You will see people using the profile picture of the person's channel, but then the name has been changed. You got to pay attention to that. My name in the comments section comes up with a little check mark beside it, and it's just my name. But these scammers are adding to that and claiming you've won something. They're replying to people's comments, they're posting random comments, and it's annoying and it stinks, and I report it all the time, and I don't feel like a thing about it has changed other than they just keep generating new accounts. Maybe if more of us report the comments, there's like a little icon at the side where you can report something as spam. I don't know, but it's really ridiculous and really annoying, and I'm sorry if anybody has been confused about that, but just check the name and make sure, like, if it doesn't have the little check mark beside it, it's not me commenting. It's not me commenting. This foundation, this Total Control Pro Drop Foundation, has been around for a while. It actually has amazing coverage, and they also put out different mixers that can lighten, deepen, add shimmer, all kinds of things going on with this. This was sent to me quite a while back in PR, and they even sent, I believe it was this brush to be used with it. So we're going to use that as our foundation today, and the drops are very concentrated. I feel like, I don't know how many years ago it was that drop products were kind of having their moment with makeup. So I'm doing some really small drops all over, and I can always add more if I feel like I want more coverage. But we have kind of an angled brush with a little dip in it. Maybe they even want you to put the foundation in the brush, but it's really nice coverage. And once upon a time there were those Cover FX drops. Who remembers those? Those were like magical. It was just super full coverage pigment drops that you could add to anything or wear them alone, like crazy coverage. But as you can see, I'm blending this around, and I'm actually getting pretty good coverage as well. I feel like I used a very minimal amount. I would say the finish is matte, and you'll see it more if you use more of the product. I've got on a pretty light amount, and it's seeming like more of a natural finish, but I'm gonna add just a little more maybe on the nose and tops of the cheeks. And it is something you definitely wanna shake. I don't know if I said, but my shade is soft beige. So we're gonna do just a little bit more, like right in here, right here, and here. And there's, yes, a cat just right there. They're the most curious little beings on the face of the earth. Okay. That's really taking away some redness there. Look at that, like just dabbing it in. It's incredibly buildable. Yes? May I help you? It's not your shade. I really like this stuff, and I think I'm seeing the benefit of the primer in that it's not letting this look too dry. Like, it gave me that added moisture surge under this makeup, because I'm generally really well moisturized every single day, but the primer gave me a little something extra. And while this looks full coverage, it's just thin as can be and is still looking somewhat natural even where I built it. See how it's not too flat? It's a really neat product. It seems like it would be a good like makeup artist kit product because these little bottles don't take up too much space, and then they also put out different things that can add more light to a certain color, more depth, or more like warm shimmer too. So there are a lot of options with that. I think that's really cool. But again, that's nothing super new. A really popular concealer that I like too so much is this NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum, which I wear in the shade Light. And I love how lightweight this manages to be, but it still has some moisture. It's like a rich concealer without being too thick. And it also has really good coverage. So you're gonna pump some out. It doesn't take a lot. Probably pumped out more than I needed. And then I can tell how thin this is getting on my skin. So I'm just giving like little light, even though it might look like I'm putting on a lot of concealer. The amount on my finger is very thin. And then I'm gonna put some where I wanna brighten as well. We can see that this is a tone that's gonna be brightening around the nose just a bit. And the chin. It's one of those products where you could pump out a full pump, but you would have way more than you needed. And then I'm gonna use my e.l.f. double-ended brush, and I'm kind of like to start with the smaller end when I'm wanting to just spread my product around. And then I use the larger end to do some more blending. And then I'll probably come back with the small end just to get the, you know, innermost corners and stuff. But does that make sense? Like I'm trying to just work it around, and then I come in with this and dab, 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 dab. It just always looks really smooth on the skin, not ever heavy, it seems, no matter what amount gets applied. Pressing it in, trying not to disrupt the coverage of everything by really buffing, but I'm just dabbing and pressing. You know, make sure we've got those inner corners. Surface of the skin is looking really nice. I just absolutely love what that concealer was able to do. I actually feel like it added a lot of moisture there to the under eye area, and just the whole surface of my skin looks super smooth and radiant and just a little bit on the dewy side now that that concealer's there. Now NYX makes a couple of different powders that I really like. One that I've talked about quite a bit is this No Filter powder. It's a finishing powder, and I have it in the shade Porcelain. And I've really enjoyed this when I want to have a setting powder all over my face that is not too matte. The beautiful thing about this is that it just has ever so slightly just the lightest sheen, and if you're wanting to set your under eye and get that perfected with something matte, you know, that's great, but this can go all over the rest of the face and help maintain the glow that certain maybe foundation products have. It's really cool. It kind of reminds me of an Hourglass type product in that way. So again, I wear that in the shade Porcelain. And then I also have been liking so much their Can't Stop Won't Stop powder. So this is a mattifying powder, and I have it in the shade Medium. This adds a little coverage, a little staying power. It's lightweight on the skin. It's the kind of powder where, if I can find a brush, when you go into it, like, it doesn't kick up a ton of excess. It's soft, but it's not too soft. To me, maybe you could use it as powder foundation, but it's not like a classic powder foundation. It's not quite as soft as the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat always was. But for right now, because of the tone of this and the sheen in this, I have another product, and it has like a matte, perfect toned setting powder. But I'm gonna grab some of that light powder and just kind of set my under eye, because like I said, we're feeling really dewy here. Texture on this powder is probably even a little softer than the Can't Stop Won't Stop. And I'm just patting that into the under eye area. This powder is just great about not dulling things down. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have to tell you about this recipe I made. It was kind of like with my grocery shopping, it was getting to be crunch time with like, what am I gonna make for dinner tonight that maybe we'll have a few leftovers for throughout the week. And I found these little cheeseburger sliders. The recipe I found on Pinterest, and it was through, I think her website is called Natasha's Kitchen. I've gotten more than a few recipes from her site. And basically you get a couple packs of Hawaiian rolls, you brown up some ground beef with some onion and season it up a little bit. You slice all those rolls in half, and you're going to put some sliced cheese on the bottom, your meat stuff. shredded cheese on top, and that cheese, by the way, is going to kind of like rein in the loose ground beef a bit, especially if you let it sit just a little after you bake it. And then you put the top rolls on, you brush on some butter and some sesame seeds, and if those weren't just the most delightful little things with a little ketchup added. My kids enjoyed them. Bub, who would typically be, you know, Mr. Traditional burger guy, meat guy, loves all things meat. He thought they were phenomenal. Like, it makes a good amount. Like, I'm talking, we're using the big 24, I think, party pack of Hawaiian rolls. And I was just thinking, how perfect would that be for like a Super Bowl party or just any kind of little gathering where maybe you don't want to be slaving over the grill the whole time. Like, there was a good amount of meat on those. And when I find something that all the kids are eating hungrily as well as grown-ups, you know, I feel like it's a pretty good find. So I wanted to tell you guys about that. Oh, and here's another thing. You prep your pan with some butter also, and I think that's part of what made the bottoms not get soggy. There's a nice like gentle crispness to the bottom and the top bun. Oh, so good. So guys, I did that light shade, just kind of setting T-zone and under eye. And then I don't think I'm going to use this today just because I don't feel like I need a ton of powder elsewhere on my skin, and I really want to exhibit this one for you, the no filter powder. Again, I see this as a real all over kind of step. It's a baked style product. And you're going to put this on and just, it's not going to give you like some whoosh, big sheen or shimmer, but I just think it does a good job of perfecting a little bit, but also maintaining the glow that you had. It's super pretty, and it's really pretty at the tail end of makeup as well. But you can touch your skin and you can feel like, yeah, I'm a little more set. You know, I don't feel quite so sticky, tacky, whatever, but yet the surface of your skin looks sort of non-makeup-y slash a little more perfected, but still glowing. Okay, next I'm coming back to this 3 Steps to Sculpt, which was something I found at Target right around a year ago, I think. I have it in the shade Fair, and I'm just gonna go to this matte just contour shade. And you know, it works. It's kind of a cool contour. Like I said, this is the shade Fair, and I mean, I could see that maybe being a little deep for some literal fair-toned folks out there. But look at it. Look at that little natural shadow. Girls are going to be starting their first full week of school just on a regular schedule all week long. Thinking of you teachers out there. In kindergarten, they're having a color week, so they want the kids to dress in the certain color that they're focusing on every day. Fortunately, Biddy tends to wear the rainbow, so we've got all that, I think. This is such a pretty shade. Like, I'm having a rediscovered moment with this little guy. First off, that light powder was really good, but the tone in this, and it's just blending across the skin with ease. Really nice, you guys. I'm very happy with that. And then also, we'll get to it, but there's a highlight, a shimmery, glowy, very light highlight in there too. Now for blush, I very recently tried NYX's double-ended like cream, they call it Wonder Stick blush, and it has some pretty shades in there. It actually has one color that reminds me a lot of Persona's Bubble, like a cool pink and then a slightly warmer pink. It's a good duo. The texture is not like the most amazing thing ever, but it's okay. But I really like this Sweet Cheeks matte. I have it in Rose and Play is the shade, and I've talked about before how matte blushes can be very perfecting. As much as I love a shimmery, glowy blush, a matte blush can go on the skin, and you know, if it kind of comes in a little close here or a little high, it can make your look more perfected actually. This is a pretty shade. You're not going to have to do a bunch of work on building. But it's just a nice, soft, kind of cool pink, I'd say. Just picked it up at good old Walmart. I think it's cool that Walmart is carrying a pretty full line of NYX where I live. Really like baby cheek vibes, don't you think? It's a delicate blush, but yet it really shows. I'm taking it up nice and high. But I feel like I'm always going to be a down the cheek, put it on the apple of the cheek kind of blush girl too. Now we're back to our little trio palette for the last time, and we're going to pick up some of that highlighter and just pop it on here. I mean, it looks intense. It almost has the slightest bit of a little cool silvery look in the pan. And I look up close and it can look downright icy, which for someone grabbing the shade Fair, they would want that. I know there are some of you guys out there who feel like highlighters just aren't made light enough to bounce off of your skin, but I feel like this one is. Oh guys, Virgin River is getting so good. I got on here talking about it the last time. I was like, yeah, it's okay. And we were just kind of starting out. Now I'm into the second season and I'm like completely invested. I feel like I'm watching Dawson's Creek for grown-ups or something. It's a show I kind of feel like I can watch and I can breathe a little bit, you know, like unlike Ozark. Ozark got me tense. It was a great show, but man, getting a little bit here for the Cupid's bow. I love this. I think this skin just looks so good. This product, I don't know if I appreciated this enough when I first got it, but I'm pleased as heck with the contour, the little setting powder. You know, this shade was so nice under the eyes. Highlighter did really good as well. Why have I not used that more? But you know, the skin just looks really even. I feel like I have great coverage. When I built up that foundation here on the cheeks, like I can barely see freckles through. Okay, so that really covered amazingly. Then I got a new product for my brows. I don't know if it's new on the market or just something I hadn't noticed before, but it's called Dip Shape Go. So it's a little 3-in-1. You can twist here. For a second there I thought this was gel, but it's just a spoolie wand that's twisted in there. And then you pull off the cap on that same end and you've got your angled brush, and then you twist this off and you've got your little pomade in there. Okay, so it's like pomade in a more streamlined packaging. Longwear brow pomade, they say, and I got this in the color Espresso. So let's try this out for the first time today. Let's see how it goes. I don't love dipping into a cream that I can't see. Like I cannot see how much I'm picking up. I know I got a ton on my brush. Yeah, that's kind of scary. If I had a pot of product like Dip Brow, I would be looking so closely at the amount I was getting on my brush, and there you're just like diving in. We don't know if this is the deep end or the shallow end, but I got a lot on my brush. I like a thick brow, but I don't like an artificially dense brow, if you know what I'm saying. I gotta get over these areas, and then maybe the spoolie is just gonna be paramount. And you're gonna be really tempted to shove that in there, but you gotta put it on that end. Okay, twist off here. It's just a bare spoolie. Okay. Not so bad. I feel like, as the spoolie rakes through, I feel like I do have some hold from that pomade. I think that looks pretty good, actually. We're gonna do the other eye. I'm gonna start out not even dipping in. I'm just gonna use what's on the brush. Need a little more, actually. Okay, so my advice with this product is just go super gently into this little dark hole. You just can't really feel it like it's a soft pomade. That's the thing. You can't go just by feel. It's a soft cream that's not giving your brush like a ton of resistance when it hits it, okay? Does that make sense? You can't go by looks or feel. You go by guess. Again, this is one of those situations where NYX is kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, but was it necessary? Take out our little spoolie from its hidden compartment. And yeah, I can definitely feel like there's some hold. Like whatever that pomade is made of, it's setting up a little bit, so you don't really feel like you need to bring in a separate setting product. I'm going to use a little Milani eyeshadow primer, you guys, because I don't have one from NYX. And I forgot to look for one yesterday while I was at Walmart. By the way, if any of you are in or near a college town, don't you love the vibe in Walmart? We went really early to pick up a few things, the girls and I. And you can just tell when it's a college kid and his couple of parents, it's been move-in day and they need to go to Walmart for some essentials. You can just feel that move-in day energy, can't you? I would not want to be back at this store at, say, 3 in the afternoon because I'm sure it's busy as heck. So NYX has these Ultimate Shadow Palettes. This is the one called Ultimate Utopia. I was thinking of using this one today. It kind of actually gives me more of a spring vibe, all those light greens and stuff, but I feel also a fall vibe too. And I think I'm going to lean into more of the fall that this palette can offer. I'm going to start off with an easy basic in the crease. We've got like a mix of textures here. Matte, 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 matte. And the rest are shimmers in varying intensities, like soft shimmers here, 1, 2, 3, and then more intense seeming shimmers with the remaining 4. This shade has just a little shimmer, but probably will apply matte actually. But I'm going to go to this shade here, and we're just going to apply that to the crease. I know Warm Neutrals has been a long time bestseller of this kind of shadow. You know which one I'm talking about? And I have that one too, but I just thought maybe this one's a little less familiar. Maybe you could use a little more explanation on it. I also have a really big NYX palette with some gorgeous, like, rich colors in it called Ultimate Queen. The big size, and Ulta isn't selling that anymore. Maybe some other retailer is, but I didn't want to use something that wasn't any longer available. Okay, so light little crease color, that's fine. Let's beef it up a little bit, coming down here to this matte. Love that. Working great so far. What are your thoughts on NYX? What things do you love in the brand? What things do you think are missing from the brand? What are they doing right? What are they not doing to your liking? Now I'm taking more of a bare brush. It's still Profusion, but it's their one that's not pinched in at the ferrule. To me, it feels a little more fluffy. And then I could just come up here to this shade. This one has a little more pink in it. That one's more yellowy. Nice, flawless brow bone highlight. I was thinking about doing like a halo eye today, but I'm not sure that I have the deep tones that I'd want to use to make that happen, because some of these dark shades are just so dark. And I do want to go into this plummy purple. I feel like I barely use this color right here. I want to pat that on the outer lid. These mattes are kind of nice. They feel pigmented, but they're not super powdery. We're being careful with this one, but that's a really pretty, like, non-pinky shade of purple. Love that color, my gosh. Then I've got my original crease brush that I use. And I'm going to go over that a little, soften what's coming up through the crease. Really pretty. I'm going to go for just even a little more depth in the crease. I'm going to go right down here to this sort of mix of charcoal, brown, and black. I see all of that happening in that shade. And I want my crease to get even darker. So I've got this small pointed brush. You see how I'm just really making an effort to pinpoint that shade? Right in there. We'll get to blending in a second. Right on the tip of the brush, wedging. I don't know how you're feeling about this so far, friends, but I'm feeling very positive. Now we blend a little more. Crease brush. You'll notice I'm not raking this across my lid. I don't want that color to change or move at all. Staying on the outer part of the shadow. And it kind of has me wanting to bring in some more warmth. What about this shade up in the corner? Kind of a peachy shimmer. This shade, golden shimmer. Actually, I think I'm going to take a little pink. Little pink gets to come right out here. So I've got my fall decor up all throughout my house now. Some might say this is too early, but leaves are falling, autumn is calling. I have cottonwood trees, so they always fall early. And the colors are starting to change. Took a walk by our pond, which is a huge, like, concentration of trees, and they're changing. Yes, they are. I'm just really enjoying this merging of shades. So far, it's been all matte. I'm taking a teensy bit more of the purple. I feel like I have a little spot that needs more of that purple right in here. Don't be afraid, just because you've already technically done a step of the look, don't be afraid to come in and make little corrections. I adore the tone of that. I think that's super unique. So many purples have more red in them. This has more blue. And it's not like wild and loud. It just makes a beautiful statement there. I adore that. Textures on some of these other shades, like this one down here, it looks almost like a greenish gold. It could have some promise. It looks a little dry, but I'm gonna try packing that on. Wow, I just went into it with my pinky. Okay, I don't always do that. A little more sheer than I was wanting, but we're gonna commit now. Purple and gold, kind of some LSU vibes. Other shades that would have been really pretty butting up with that purple would be any of these, like, things that have a little peach in them. This shade can be built. It's a teensy bit frustrating, but I think NYX is just really trying to offer that unique texture. I am gonna take a little bit of this color that has some peach in it and kind of see what that looks like even between the purple and the gold. It just kind of eases that blend a bit more because the finish isn't quite so metallic. So I'm not so sure this liner is gonna vibe across the upper lash line as well as I want it to, but I really want to play with it on the lower lash line. I found this Epic Smoke liner. It's kind of a teardrop shaped liner. I have it in the shade Nude Haze. That's why I was thinking like it's probably not going to stand out a lot with the super dark purple, but maybe on the lower lash line. And then instead of having just one of those, you know, kind of rubbery smudger tips, this is an actual tiny brush, like the teeniest paddle style brush you've ever seen. NYX has put out brow products that have that kind of a brush on them also. But I was thinking maybe for the lower lash line, I just thought it was interesting, like this color I thought could be all around good smoky lower lash line possibly for any look. They showed on the box somebody kind of like even doing a winged look, but yet it was really smoked out with this brush. The brush is able to really be very precise in the softening of that. It's going onto the skin really easily. I think this shade would be so pretty with so many looks on the lower lash line. Like it's just kind of there, you know? It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's definitely not too dark, but it's dark enough to show and give contrast and give like framework. The line itself ends up being a little thicker. I feel like the brush part isn't a huge key to the look, but it's nice. Look at that nice, like, little smoky line that doesn't quite look like liner. It looks like shadow, but hopefully it will have better staying power than eyeshadow would. I actually think this shows a lot of promise and a lot of opportunities for using it again in future looks. Let me see if I still have that box. See, that's how they showed it, like being actually drug out like this, and you're practically using it like smudged out eyeshadow. But I think the lower lash line is just perfect. Next, I am curling my lashes, and this mascara I had on hand for a while but had never used, like never even cracked it open, called On the Rise Volume Mascara. So we'll just see. This is going to be a new experience. No liner up top, just so hopefully you can see what this mascara is doing a little bit better. We've got a rubber bristle hourglass shape. The brush seems really, really clean, not holding a lot of product, so I expect kind of a slow build out of this, but right now I'm getting nice definition. It's reminding me a bit of the Milani Anti-Gravity, but not quite bulking the lashes up as much. But yet, I swear it's highlighting every lash I have and it's not sticking them together. I think this would be perfect if just a little more product could come off on the wand and just get on those lashes at once, you know? Because it's taking me a little while. I gotta be patient, but I don't feel it's dropping the curl. Instead of taking the goop off the tip, I'm actually using that. I'm like laying it on there and then pulling it through. Feels like it's drying fast. This is doing pretty well. I feel like there have been far more hits than misses in this video. In fact, I'm not even sure I have a blatant miss, you know? I chose a lot of things that I was familiar with, but there were still some things that I hadn't used quite as much. Mascara, brow, and that eyeliner were pretty much total shots in the dark. The brow thing's just a little like, that's not my favorite format for a pomade at all. But I still created a pretty good brow with it, didn't I? The story with this mascara is basically, I like the finished look, but I didn't really like the process. It took a long time to get to this place, but I do appreciate that it doesn't clump the lashes together, and it seems to kind of freeze on the lashes pretty quick. So I think that's going to bode well for curl holding. I'm now going to just pop a little bit of Old Reliable, come hell or high water, from Cali Ray on the lower lashes. Okay, and then we're going to do lips. I am very familiar with Butter Gloss, but I got a new shade in this the other day. It's called Strawberry Cheesecake, and it just seems a little more intense than some of the kind of nude looking glosses that I have from that line. And then I'm going to use my NYX lip pencil in Mauve. I'm going to go all over the lips with that. I got, I think it was around holiday time last year, a nice little like multi-pack of these pencils in all kind of nude earthy shades, and it was so good, and I still reach for them to this day, even though it seems like all I use is Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner. I still use these, they're nice. But the Better Glosses are pretty, they're not long wear, but layering a little liner underneath can at least give your lips a little something to hold on to. So many things get called mauve, but I feel this is a really true mauve. There we go. Now we go on with this. This gloss is really a pretty color. Look at that pinkiness. But yet Better Glosses seem to have, you know, a little sheerness too. You're not getting 100% full coverage on the lips. It smells so good. Like vanilla. Like actual can of vanilla frosting. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love that. Feels good, looks good. More blush? Yes, no, maybe just a little. This is our Sweet Cheeks in Rose and Play. I'm so pleased with this look, you guys. I think it came together super well. My hair is just ever so slightly still damp from my shower last night. But gosh, where to begin about talking about what worked? I mean, the quicker story is what didn't work, which I think we still made it work. It just maybe wasn't my preferred way to do it. This dip, shape, and go, I think kind of a gimmicky approach to brow pomade where you really can't look down into the pomade side and see exactly what's loading up on your brush and how much, and that can be risky. Thank goodness a spoolie was provided as well, because that, I think, may be what saves people from some sketchy situations with that product. The mascara is an end result that I feel like I could get with a lot of things a little bit quicker. From a drugstore perspective, I feel like I get to this look with CoverGirl Exhibitionist Stretch and Strengthen, but I get there faster. And this primer is nice, but I know this is one of like the more expensive products actually in NYX's line, and I'm not so sure that's super necessary. I think you could get the Hydrating Primer from Hard Candy for like around $5, maybe less. It's kind of like a Milk Hydro Grip vibe, and I think it can give you some of the same benefits as this. Those are my three elements that I didn't think were the strongest. The most loved things in this video, gosh, I was super impressed with the foundation and the concealer. Like, the coverage was great with this look without feeling thick at all. Like, both of these products just feel incredibly light, but the coverage on the skin is amazing. This powder is superb as well. I think that's a really special product. If you're looking for something that gives you like an hourglass ambient lighting powder vibe, but for a drugstore price, check that out. This lip color is gorgeous. The blush is nice, but you know, it's a basic matte pink blush. I would say emerging impressive products. This, gosh, maybe for that purple alone, it's so nice, but there's lots of great mattes in here. I had a fun time building the look with this Utopia palette. This, you know, Rediscovered Moment, and the Epic Smoke Liner, particularly in this nude haze shade, is really cool, and I think could work alongside so many looks as smudgy lower liner. But if I had to pick just a top three, I'm going foundation, concealer, and also this, actually. That surprises me that I come away saying that. But each part of this did a good job. It set my under eye, it contoured really well with a beautiful tone, and then it gave me that glow also. I mean, I'm just running into a lot of complexion stuff that I'm loving these days. Like, have you watched the last few videos? We did a L'Oreal full face. We had great complexion stuff. We had great complexion stuff in the new product video. And then this as well. There's just so much good stuff out there, I think, being made with some amazing technology or formulas that are just working so well on my skin. So thank you for watching, everyone. I hope this was informative. Let me know your requests, not just one brand looks, but any kind of request you have. I feel like some days the ideas just pop into my head like they're running full speed, and sometimes lately I'm feeling like, what am I gonna do? So don't hesitate to let me know what you want to see, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.